Well, hello everyone. Told you we'd be doing some different things. And today we're going to start the video with some dishes. Because they need to be done. Not just basically just prepping them for the dishwasher, but I had a quiet moment to be able to sit and talk without too much of an interruption. But I kind of wanted to start the day off with, I guess, is some words of encouragement, and maybe some words of trying to approach things in a more meaningful way, right? I think maybe if you want to feel like you're more in control of your situation, try to find one thing that you can change for the better, right? Whether it's going for walks in the morning or something, or even whenever you can, go for a 15-minute walk, 30-minute walk. Or if you've decided that you maybe you don't like a certain habit that you have, maybe you want to stop doing it. Maybe just stop doing it for a while and see if you can maintain it. Or maybe pick one app, one piece of social media that you know you're overdoing it, and get rid of the application off your phone. Sign out of it on your web browser. Get rid of the bookmark that you have for it on your computer. Do everything you can to stop using it. Just one. Doesn't have to be everything. Just one thing. One application, one piece of social media, and see if you can stop doing it. And maybe all that will, open up more time for more important things, or maybe it'll just pivot over to something else social media related, but at least you'll feel like you're a little bit in control of your situation. I think everybody wants to feel like they're a little bit more in control. I don't know. I stopped doing social media things a long time ago, and I suppose you could say YouTube is still some form of social media, but that is my last and final thing that I do that I have a problem with. But to be honest, I'm trying to transition to, instead of watching so much, I want to start creating more and being a little bit more productive on the YouTube side. And I know there's plenty of other people that probably have done this much better than I have and have better things to say, but I think I have enough value to bring to the table that somebody hears what I have to say, maybe even just one time, it'll be worth it. So we're going to try to focus on getting rid of one piece of social media or one bad habit that you think you probably should be doing less of. And that will help to make us feel like we are a little bit more in control of our situation. I probably will pivot this video over to something else after I'm done doing dishes. It might be something as simple as making dinner. That's the other thing that I need to do after I'm done with this, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough peace in the house for that amount of time, especially since it is a little bit dark outside, but we'll see. That was one piece of advice I can give, one thing to help. I think one of the other things too, and this is just happenstance because I happen to be doing some things that aren't normally my job, but it's okay. It's not something that I won't do. It's something that I just am not typically here to do because I'm usually driving or busy or what have you. Go out of your way to help do something that you don't normally do. Help somebody that, you know, if you have a significant other or wife or husband or whatever, help do something that isn't typically your chore. Like dishes, not typically a thing that I would do, but I'm doing it. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing that I won't do. Just something that I don't typically do. The other thing that I'm going to be doing after this is prepping dinner. And that I'm much more well versed in. I have a better sense of how to do it. But dishes is not difficult. So, like, if you normally don't vacuum the house, go ahead and see if it needs to be done. And then if you can see that it needs to be done, go ahead and do it. Be available to try and do something that you don't normally do. I'm sure it will go appreciated because it will be done meaningfully. This I'm actually gonna maybe clean properly and set off to the side because I don't think it's gonna make it through the dishwasher and it's gonna waste a little bit of time, so space I should say. think I mentioned in the last video, going out of your way to see friends and going outside and different things like that. I think maybe having a better sense of your money situation probably would be good. Like, maybe you take a look at your budget, your bills, things you don't normally look at too much, like Netflix or Hulu and all these other things that are automatic. Go through and decide in your mind if those things are necessary right now. And if you feel that they are, they bring enough value to you, then okay. But at least you're aware that it's there and you're not just blindly letting things bleed you dry. We run a pretty tight ship here, so we are very hyper aware of all the things that cost us money. But we try not to dwell on money being a problem. You know, money's always a problem for most people, but it's just one of those things you just try to be more aware of what you're spending your money on. I think one of the other things I would encourage listeners to do would be read some books that you don't normally read. And I don't mean fiction, which there's nothing wrong with fiction, and I enjoy fiction books, but go out of your way to read some nonfiction books. Read some things that you think are interesting, that are, you know, someone has put time and effort into researching and compiling all the data for some kind of a meaningful book on something. I mean, obviously you don't have to get into really deep anythings, but there's definitely some topics that I'm sure people would enjoy, and just be a little bit more educated on a topic that they're interested in. And I don't just mean buy a book, a physical book. I mean, like, you could buy, you know, a digital copy of the book, or you could get an audio book. I prefer an audio book personally, because I have a lot of time on my hands in the car as I commute back and forth to work. So that's probably the easiest easiest thing for me. And I always can go back and listen to it over and over if I need to. Feel like I didn't quite grasp something. I also would suggest maybe you find some podcasts that aren't just purely for entertainment purposes, but also for educational purposes. I think a lot of people waste a lot of time on things that just make them feel good all the time. And there's nothing wrong with feeling good, but I think we get enough dopamine hits in everything else that we do. Maybe something more meaningful and educational would probably be for the best. So maybe 1 out of every 5 books that you read one that's educational. Maybe 3 or 1 out of every 3 or 5 podcasts that you listen to, especially if they're long form podcasts. Go ahead and find one that's educational. Some topic that you enjoy listening to. Find value in. I guess so. Maybe we'll do a recap. So we're gonna try to start doing or stop doing something, whether it be stopping a habit that you think is maybe a little bit destructive, or start doing something that'll be productive or meaningful to you. And then possibly getting rid of or distancing yourself from one social media platform in order to help feel like you are a little bit more in control of your situation. And then go out of your way to educate yourself a little bit more with a podcast or a book. Just try to incorporate a little bit of something every day. It doesn't have to be every day, but in your schedule of things that you are doing, try to put some time into something that's going to be positive for you. Person or whatever. I know one of my, I'll call him a mentor, I'm sure he would appreciate that. One of the people that I've looked up to in my later years here told me, and I'm sure this isn't something that he specifically came up with, it's just a saying. Can't eat an elephant in one bite. Gotta take it one bite at a time. And I think that personal development and things like that are probably should be taken that same approach. Probably should go out of your way to change little things, one thing at a time, right? Like if you know you go to McDonald's too much, right? Or you know you drink too many sodas in a day, or I don't know, maybe you doom scroll on Reddit every night and you're not getting enough sleep because of it. Maybe take some moments in your life to reflect and see if that's something that you can change about yourself in a meaningful, but, you know, doesn't have to be all at once, but just in a way that's going to help you slowly. Let's transition over to cooking. All right, and we're back. This I'm a little bit better at, but I'm also trying to accomplish something that isn't exactly what I want to do, and this meat isn't exactly what I was expecting to cook with, so trying to cook Tuscan chicken. I've got to essentially debone and get as much of this meat off of here as I can, which I don't know, we'll see. Also, yes, I know it's a plastic cutting board. Bad, I know. I want to transition over to something else, possibly teak or whatever, but it's okay. I'll figure it out. I haven't been able to justify buying new ones yet because they're expensive, and it's not always something that comes up as a need. Oh, I think the other thing I was going to mention was for food, actually, food. If you're trying to transition over to a more healthier lifestyle, go out of your way to try and find one kind of food that, I don't know, that's relatively easily sourced from your local store, whether it be Walmart or Aldi's or Costco or whatever, and see if you can find an organic version of the thing. Now, it's debatable whether organic is going to be actually better, but we can do our best to try and minimize our ingredients in whatever it is that we're trying to eat. So if you're gonna, I don't know, let's say crackers. That's an easy one. People buy crackers for their kids and for cheese and crackers and such. That's an easy one. You probably buy crackers once, I don't know, I guess it depends on your household, but let's pick crackers as an example of something that is not a huge part of your diet probably, but arguably is something that easily could be transitioned over from a regular cracker to something that is organic. Now, I will say there's still quite a few, ingredients in a cracker, but you can try your best to just pick a healthier option. That's all, right? So picking an organic cracker would mean that they're using organic ingredients in order to make it. And ideally, that's going to be a better quality product than a regular cracker. And, you probably go through a box of crackers, depending on how big your family is, every week or so, maybe, right? Depends on how much you consume. So you're going to transition from a regular box of crackers, which is probably like $4 something, maybe more, I don't know, to an organic cracker, which might be more like $5 or $6. Now it's $2 more, and that does seem like a lot, but you're going out of your way to try and change one thing about your diet. So you can be a little bit more in control over what you're putting into your body, and a little bit more in control over the quality of the thing that's going in you, right? At least ideally speaking. And if that's too much and you absolutely cannot do organic anything, and you've got to buy the bargain bin stuff, that's fine. You got to do what you got to do with what you've got to work with, right? So do what you can. I guess one of those things too that you don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. Right? Some people are very proud and do not like to ask for help. I am one of those people. I would rather suffer in silence about my own shortcomings and things that I have struggled with, or money or whatever, my diet, all those types of things. And I would rather sit and suffer in silence than ask for help. And that's not exactly a superpower. So make sure you're having conversations with people that care about you and love you, right? Let them know you're having a hard time. Let them know you're struggling. And maybe they'll feel the same. They're also struggling. And you'll be able to talk candidly to each other about those issues. And maybe you can come up with ways together to try and save money, or share meals together, or just find a way, right? Figuring it out. I think one of the things we're probably going to need to learn how to do better again is creating the communities and the clan, so to speak, of tight-knit people that are close to you, that are part of your clique or your group of got a bone there. Group of community members that are close to you, that you know you can depend upon. Sometimes those are neighbors, sometimes those are friends, sometimes those are family members, obviously. And we're going to have to be more mindful of physically depending on people that are close by us more, and doing our best to support each other in our communities. I think it's something that we've sort of lost, and we're gonna have to pull that one back in. But I think it'll be for the best. I think, doing your best to source food locally from, well, I'll say locally, but verify, right? Because you could have factory farms living nearby you, and that would technically be locally, but that does not necessarily mean good quality food, right? I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but just saying, do your best to I normally would cook the skin and cut it up and everything, but I don't think it's gonna bode well with what I'm trying to cook right now, so I might cut that one up. Okay, I think that should do well. I think I got most of the meat off of these that I could that makes a difference. The rest of it will probably do like a, I don't know, chicken stock or something like that. Stick it in the freezer and cook it up another time for maybe a stew of some kind, but either way. I'm hopeful that people will appreciate the sentiment that I'm trying to convey. I hope that they can understand that we need to start making little changes here and there in order to make ourselves better and put ourselves in a better situation. You know? Regardless of the future of things, I think that doing that would be beneficial. I don't think that anybody would argue otherwise. I know these pieces aren't uniform, but so they'll probably cook unevenly, but you know, get what you can out of what you got. Oh, my pellet stove is going to die. Well, my hands are currently chickenified, so that's gonna have to wait. Oh, there's a big old vein right there. Just yank that out of there. I think probably the hardest thing for most people to change would be anything that requires money. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's will, you know, the ability to stop doing something, and that's fair. But I would say a lot of things that we wish we could change about ourselves would be money related, and that's much harder to find a solution for when money does not grow on trees. My mother's gonna watch this video and be like, "Hey, wait a minute, this isn't wood carving." Yes, Mom, you are right. It is not wood carving. But all the same, the talking points and such are still valid and important. You ever think sometimes there's probably a better way of doing things? Not necessarily talking about my knife skills, although I'm sure there is many people that are cringing watching me dice my chicken. But what I mean is, do you think that there might be a better way of doing what we're doing here and how we're doing it? And I don't mean like socialism versus capitalism or any of that type of stuff. Maybe partially, but not in the grand scheme of things. I mean, like, I feel like there's gotta be a better way of approaching how we're doing all this in order for it to make more sense. And just kind of doesn't make sense. I wish there was a better way of articulating what I mean, but I just know what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, even though some people would argue that I've succeeded in doing all the right things in all the right ways, and I've approached things in the right ways, and I've got a future ahead of me. I still look at it and say, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's something that we should want to do in order for it to be sustainable, you know? We should be striving for more quality endeavors, I guess. Like, we all gotta, somebody has to, do the plumbing. Somebody's got to make stuff in a factory. Even if that's got to be AI or whatever you want to call it, with robots and stuff, but there's always has to be somebody doing those jobs. So I'm not minimizing the usefulness or the necessity for those types of jobs. But I guess for me, I don't see what I'm doing as altogether useful in the grand scheme of things. I feel like it's such a small blip and so little impact that I feel like there's more to be had, more meaningful life. But I guess on that note, I'm gonna cook up my Tuscan chicken and I'm gonna let you go.